Do you remember what you were wearing when you had your first grown-up date, your first job interview? What you were wearing the day you fell in love or the day you got fired? Eileen Beckerman does. She drew pictures of the outfits and described what happened when she wore them and has since become a publishing phenomenon. Love, Loss, and What I Wore is now going into its second printing. Not bad for a self-described grandmother from New Jersey. Welcome, Eileen Beckerman, and I should call you Gingy, which is what people called you because you had ginger-colored hair.
In those days. Since then, I've had every other color hair until my hair started to turn gray, and then I feel I should be authentic at this point in my life.
Now, you began this as a purely personal project, right?
It was almost a dream one night about a dress that I had had when I was younger, and I enjoyed looking at it very, very much, and I thought, well, can I think of another dress? And one dress led to another, and within the next couple of days I drew them. I'm not an artist, but I like to communicate on paper because I used to be very shy and I used paper. So I drew them out and I saw that they told a story, and I thought, well, I'm going to write this story for my children because my children feel sometimes, maybe all the time, that I had no life before I was their mother. And there were certain things I wanted to share with them that there's no time in a busy day to sit down and talk about small moments, big moments. And I put it together for my kids and my two best friends. I was particularly happy because I mentioned my mother's name, my grandmother's name, and my Aunt Babby's name, and these are three women that I loved, and they had all died before my children were born. And I thought, well, I'm making them live again in a certain way. So I was really, really thrilled. I made a few copies. I put them in a big red binder that I bought at Staples, and I was done. A year later, my friend Dora called me up and she said, Gingy, are you sitting down? And I said, yes. And she said, this woman's going to call you. She wants to publish your book. Be nice to her. And I didn't believe her. I said, well, yeah, Dora, when am I going to win the lottery, too? And this past year has been absolutely amazing.
Well, let's look at some of the pictures. They're so wonderful. And I love this first one, which is a dress that your father bought for you after your mother died.
Yes, my mother had made all of my clothes, my sister and my clothes, and she died abruptly, and within a very short time, it was before my 13th birthday, my father took me to B. Altman's and let me buy my first store-bought dress, and I picked this one out. Looking at it now, I see it's very somber. I think my father was trying to say to me in his awkward way, you know, life will go on, you'll still have clothes, there are still people who love you. And
then this next one, this party dress, which you wore to, I guess, a fairly grown-up kind of thing at Choate.
Yes, my friend Dora's mother also made clothes, but she made clothes for very fancy ladies, very expensive clothes. And this is a dress she made, and she was always telling her daughter, who was my best friend, who went to private school, to take me, who went to public school, along when she was going out with the better class of boys.
So this was bought to attract a better class of boys.
Exactly, exactly.
Now later on, you married. Your first marriage was to a man who was quite a bit older than you.
He was my professor at college. He was 17 years older than I was. After my father brought me that blue dress, I never saw my father again. So, I mean, it's like psychology 101. I guess I was looking for a father figure.
But the dress with the sort of Chinese brocade is you wore to a party that was sort of a turning point, right?
Yes, that was a New Year's Eve party, and Harry had encouraged me to buy that dress and wear it, and I felt fabulous. 12 o'clock came, and I was looking for my handsome husband, and I found him kissing the hostess. So that marriage didn't last too long.
Love and Loss and What I Wore. This must be something of a Cinderella story for you. Cinderella, who put on the clothes, but they didn't, you know, they weren't her clothes. But you did not think of yourself as I guess as a writer or somebody who would start such a movement. I understand that you've been getting letters and drawings from people all over the country saying, what happened to me, you know, when I wore this.
Exactly. When women read this book, it becomes almost interactive. And it's not that my particular life story is of importance, it's only of importance to my children, but somehow or other I triggered something that women wanted to talk about and gave them a way of remembering their past. And as I say, it's kind of interactive because they find in it, they'll write me letters and they'll say, my mother sewed, my roommate had the best clothes, I had to wear my sister's hand-me-downs, and they draw me pictures, and it's a wonderful communication with all kinds of women. If they're a size 6 or a 16, or if they're 24 or 64, I mean, we all know about clothes, and they like if I say to you a pink Chanel suit and a pillbox hat, you think about a certain day in Dallas, and that's clothes just seem to trigger memories, and women have emotional feelings towards their clothes.
Well, I think we all like to try on different personalities with our clothes too. And you have a drawing here of a Poochie mini dress that you bought when I guess you were going through some sort of identity crisis.
Well, I think a lot of people, you have your fashion mistakes, and these things are advertised, and salespeople say this is what you should be wearing now. And I bought that knowing that I hated it, knowing it was too short, and I wore it once, and I felt when I was wearing it, I'm going to run into someone who's wearing the exact same bold dress who looks a lot better in it than I do.
And then there's another drawing. We're almost out of time here, but this of what you thought you would look like and what you actually did look like in this sort of Audrey Hepburn dress.
Well, isn't this all of us?
Yes.
And in those days, Jackie Kennedy was our heroine, and that was a Jackie Kennedy, Audrey Hepburn dress, and you're supposed to look like they do, but I've had 6 children. I'm round. I think many of us don't look the way we're supposed to look according to the magazines.
Do you think that this feeling about clothes is true for men too?
Most men know, because I've been thinking about it, and I think men don't know what tie they wore yesterday, and women know everything they wore yesterday, and they know what they're going to wear tomorrow, and men don't know why if they have one pair of black pants they need another one. And there are so many things that men don't know about clothes.
Do you think they're missing something?
I think that women are thinking less about clothes today. My daughter calls it the gapping of America. We tend to all look more alike, and I think that we're more interested in other things and in our personalities and what we do and how we are than clothes. But I think particularly women of my generation found a lot of their identity through the clothes they wore.
Oh, well, it's a wonderful book, and it's a wonderful story, and congratulations to you. Love, Loss, and What I Wore by Eileen Beckerman is published by Algonquin Books of Chapel Hill, and if you're lucky, you'll find a copy in a bookstore near you.